We want to be respectful of everybody's time. We were waiting for Mr. Chavez to walk in, and the timing is perfect. So we are going to go ahead and get started. I would like to welcome everybody to this oversight hearing of the Committee on Veteran Affairs. Before we begin, I would like to welcome Dr. Joaquim Arambula to the committee. Dr. Arambula was recently elected to the 31st District, and I'm looking forward to working with him. Dr. Arambula, welcome. And would you like to say a few words?
I would. First, I just want to say what a privilege it is to serve on this committee. My wife's grandfather served in World War II and flew planes. My wife's father served 3 tours in Vietnam. He was the oldest of 10, and he kept re-enlisting in the Army because he didn't want anyone in his family to go and serve in his place. There is service that men and women have done for this great country, and it's an honor of mine to be here on this committee to serve you. So thank you guys, and I look forward to rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
All right. Today we're going to hear from Dr. Vito Ambasciani. Gosh, I've practiced it so many times, and I don't think I got it right. Dr. Vito, who was sworn in as Secretary at the Cal Department of Veteran Affairs on September 28, 2015. The Secretary is Director of Government Relations, was Director of Government Relations at Southern California Kaiser Permanente Group since 2004, where he has been a urologic surgeon since 1997, and I know he was performing surgery just this last weekend, so he's still in business in my district. He served as state surgeon for the California Army National Guard from 2006 to 2014, as a colonel in the U.S. Army Corps from 1986 to 2014. And page 2. And the doctor is a president-elect of the LA County Medical Association and a member of the California Medical Association. He earned a Doctor of Medicine degree from University of Vermont School of Medicine and Doctor of Philosophy and Master of Arts degrees from Cornell University. We invited the Secretary to come in today to discuss the direction he would like to take the department. I wanted to see if the Vice Chair would like to make some comments. All right. Anybody else? Any comments before we get started? All right. Well, welcome, Mr. Secretary Ambasciani.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Vice Chair Chavez. I think the first thing I should do is, if you would just watch me, Ambasciani.
Ambasciani.
Yeah, see, when you do it like that, it comes out perfect Italian. It's wonderful. Just Well, members of the Assembly Veterans Committee, many of whom I've met in the 6 months that I've taken over the helm of the department, thank you for the opportunity for me to reintroduce you to a slightly reorganized and very much reinvigorated Department of Veterans Affairs, CalVet, and to share my vision as I lead the agency for the very near future. According to our 2014 strategic plan, CalVet's mission is defined as we serve California's nearly 2 million veterans and their families. Our stated vision is to be our state's leading advocate and resource so veterans can achieve the highest quality of life. As stated in that document, both mission and vision are necessary but hardly sufficient to meet the ever-changing needs of veterans in California. I can only stand on our accomplishments of recent years, of which there have been many, including the opening of 5 new full-service nursing homes for our veterans, helping to cut the VA claims backlog by 90%, helping more than 700 veterans achieve the American dream of home ownership. In addition to all this, we have to look to the future. So today I plan to go beyond the accomplishments and successes of the recent past and share with you my vision and goals for this department and how CalVet plans to address and meet the needs of today's veterans and the veterans of tomorrow in a comprehensive manner. As the new Secretary, my mission is to connect as many veterans as possible to their benefits and improve the quality of the services that we deliver. And this service starts from the very first day a veteran returns home to California, and it can last all the way until he or she needs a final resting place. I see CalVet as a reorganized, reinvigorated, and energized department that will be able to meet its mission and assist all 2 million veterans in California. In addition to providing programs to our veterans and families, I firmly believe CalVet has both the responsibility and the opportunity to lead on issues related to veterans here in California. To that end, last month, CalVet called together here in Sacramento more than 150 leaders of state, federal, and local organizations that work with veterans. And there I shared with them my call to action to leave no veteran behind. We shared our common challenges, created a way to address those challenges in the future, and are building a plan to assist and advocate for all of our veterans and their families. While I am Secretary, CalVet will continue to take the initiative. We will become a force multiplier, communicating, planning, and working alongside all of our partners, breaking down silos and other barriers so our veterans can enjoy the quality of life that they have envisioned for themselves. From the founding of our Yountville home in 1884 up until the turn of this century, CalVet was synonymous with our magnificent flagship Yountville home and our highly successful home loan program. That's all there was. Then, around 2000, CalVet began a significant expansion of our nursing home system and our entire services division. Today, CalVet stands alongside all California veterans, providing a broad array of new services to veterans, starting the day they leave federal active duty and continuing through to honoring them after death. This committee, I'm sure, is already familiar with CalVet's existing programs. Today, I want to focus on what we plan for the future to improve and enhance the delivery of those services. So let's begin with the Homes Division. Starting with that Yountville home, I plan to convene a special committee made up of staff and community partners to review the master plan for Yountville completed in December 2012. Their directive will be to envision and plan for a modern, cost-effective, efficient, and caring medical facility for the 21st century that will be a model for others to copy and will be the home for our veterans living there. Keep in mind that Yountville was the very first veterans home in the nation and the model of all the others in the 50 states. Yountville is a gem that was ahead of its time when it opened in 1884, but the years have not been kind to its physical plant, and it's time to polish our jewel and place it back as the crown jewel of the constellation of veterans' homes. We cannot and should not continue to maintain the home, dumping millions of dollars a year in emergency repairs and patches. We need to revitalize it. While we maintain its historical beauty and significance, my vision is that it will become an example of modern, long-term care and assisted living for all veterans. Also, with respect to the homes, I plan to bring all 8 of the veterans' homes into a single statewide network with standardized procedures in nursing and medical care and procurement and budgeting, and using a modernized electronic medical record and a modernized pharmaceutical delivery system, using well-trained staff and state-of-the-art facilities and equipment. Our goal is to continually improve the already high-quality services that our residents receive there. To help plan for future needs and chart our new initiatives, we have hired a team of demographic and service experts to reevaluate the current census and services in our homes, and then look at the veteran population in California so we can plan for the needs of the next generation of veterans that will be coming to us. For Calvet's successful Farm and Home Loan Division, I'm pleased to report that we are returning to our historical annual rate of helping veterans, many of whom would not qualify for a loan anywhere else, buy into the American dream. Yes, we have challenges like any other lender: the economy, price of housing, funding sources, an unpredictable Fed. But this program has survived for 95 years, and it will continue to serve those veterans, like the 423,000 families in California that have gotten a home loan from our department, continue to serve those veterans who are ready to buy their little piece of California's golden dream. For our expanding Veteran Services Division, there are 3 programs worthy of your future attention. Through the vision of the governor and the legislature, our Veteran Services Division will be implementing a California Transitional Assistance Program, CalTAP, the first in the nation, tailored to California's veterans, that will educate them about the benefits they learn through their military service. The governor included in our May revise positions to build out the CalTAP program that was envisioned by AB 1509, which the governor signed in 2014. At the same time, we plan to continue with the enhanced oversight of for-profit colleges by our state approving agency. Too many times, veterans have been targeted as a source of revenue with their available post-9/11 GI Bill benefits, and sometimes given very little in return for that investment. That is changing, and we will continue to be the tip of the spear in our defense against deceptive and unfair targeting of our veterans. CalVet provides a continuum of care for veterans, and here are just a few examples of what I mean when I say we serve all of California's 1.8 million vets. Through our partnership with the County Veteran Service Officers, we help veterans file for disability and compensation benefits. Through partnerships with state agencies like the Employment Development Department and the Department of General Services and community employment organizations, CalVet is helping veterans build careers and job opportunities. Our outreach efforts to educate veterans about earned benefits include publishing and distributing more than 250,000 copies of this, the Veterans Resource Guides. Since we started this program 8 years ago, we have distributed nearly 1 million copies of this guide, including to your individual offices. Through representation and advocacy in the appeals process to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, we ensure that veterans get the disability services and benefits that they have earned. And on that point, I want to highlight something we should all be proud of. The strike teams that the governor and you created about 3 years ago have been a huge success. The strike teams reviewed more than 83,000 claims in the backlog and secured more than $109 million in retroactive payments, plus more than $185 million in annual payments to California veterans. With your support and VA cooperation, we reduced that backlog of claims at the 3 VA offices in California from about 70,000 to about 7,000. That's an outstanding 90% reduction. This is a huge accomplishment, but as I said earlier, I'm here to talk about the future. With that backlog dramatically cut, it's time to put in place a structure that will make sure our veterans will continue to be served in a timely manner. To that end, with the governor's support, we've submitted in this year's budget a plan to permanently place staff in regional offices that will ensure quality of incoming claims and prepare them for swift review and decisions by the federal VA. These new staff will make sure that we aren't in another situation where our veterans are waiting up to 2 years before they get a decision on their service-connected disability claim. It is my goal and mission to ensure that CalVet is there when our veterans face challenges, especially those who are underserved or in acute need. Women veterans who are now serving in combat comprise about 15% of our military. They are less likely to know about and use their earned benefits. So we have expanded outreach to them with our Women's Veterans Outreach Toolkit. This toolkit helps organizations understand how to reach women veterans and ensures they are connected to the needed benefits. You should know this toolkit was so effective that it was recognized this past winter by the VA and the National Association of State Directors of Veterans Affairs with an Abraham Lincoln Pillars of Excellence Award as a national best practice. For minority veterans, CalVet is there too, providing information about veterans' benefits, actively seeking out and connecting to Native American, LGBT, Latino, and African American vets. Each of these targeted groups are disproportionately underserved by the VA compared to their rate of service in the U.S. military, and we're going to change that formula. Homeless veterans are the focus of a major CalVet initiative with our HCD and CalHFA partners. CalVet began the process of providing housing for homeless and low-income veterans. Specifically, in the past year, $179 million in awards were provided under the Veterans Housing and Homelessness Prevention Program, known as VHHP. Our goal with VHHP is to build up to 4,800 housing units for veterans by distributing as much as $600 million in awards to nonprofits and developers. Our efforts don't stop with women, minority, or homeless veterans. We are actively working with the VA, law enforcement, and the courts to help veterans caught in the criminal justice system achieve a measure of success and avoid future criminal activity. Some of that is spelled out along with many other things in the document we provided to you. So before I close, let me turn back to the homes. They do take up the largest part of our budget and account for the largest part of our staff. I repeatedly meet with leaders and staff at each of our 8 beautiful homes, and I'm proud of the care our residents receive in the twilight years of their lives. Our homes are a beautiful reminder to the people of this state that we owe so much to the few men and women who have chosen to serve in the military. In every one of the cities and towns where our homes are located, people willingly come out to volunteer, say thank you, and otherwise honor our veterans. In that way, we create a vital connection between the state, its communities, and our veterans. My vision is that in return, our homes will be a place where other veterans, those not residing in the homes, can come and connect with past generations of veterans, receive information on their own services and benefits, and reconnect with their community. So, from the first day a veteran returns home and all the way until he or she needs a final resting place, CalVet provides an umbrella of vital programs assisting and honoring all veterans. We have a revitalized spirit and mission in the department, and I promise you we will lead the way. We will break down silos, bridge gaps, and convene federal, state, local, nonprofit, and community organizations in an unprecedented manner that will improve and expedite the delivery of quality services to our vets. Our job at CalVet is to put our veterans first, and we are doing that for all of our state's veterans. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Imbasciani. And it's a difficult role that you're taking on, and especially given the situation with the vet homes, I think your background is perfect. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to work with you. Do we have questions for the Secretary? I know you've touched on it, but I just had one. Could you go a little bit more into depth about your plan to bring the homes to full capacity?
Sure. Actually, I don't know what your numbers are. We are so much closer to realizing that right now. The home in Fresno is, if not full, it's about to be full any day. The home at Barstow will continue to offer geographical challenges. That's not said in any way to disparage the geography or the topography of the Inland Empire, but rather the distance from which the veterans who are domiciled there are at some distance from their families. So it's hard to send people to Barstow. That leaves West LA. And there are 8 wards in this new home. We had a hard time filling them because of the difficulty in, it's now, I'm sure, the most famous kitchen west of the Mississippi River. That kitchen was built finally, thank you very much. It passed its federal and state inspections, and it is now up and serving. Why am I talking about a kitchen? Because without that kitchen, we could not get the California Department of Public Health certification to open up additional wards. With the approval of that facility, of the 8 wards, wards 5 and 6 have opened up. They're fully staffed, and we are bringing in about 2 veterans a week to fill that 84-bed unit up. That just leaves wards 7 and 8, which are not empty. A few years ago, when 4 wards were empty and we had no means to go forward and fill them, absent the CDPH certification, we entered into an agreement with the VA, the Wadsworth VA in Los Angeles across the street. Housing for homeless veterans at the time was a national disaster. It made headlines every week in the LA Times, and people on the west side of Los Angeles were begging that we get the veterans off the street. So we opened up wards 7 and 8 to what we call Transitional Housing Program, THP. And all we do for these vets is supply them with meals and a bed to sleep in. The VA takes care of all of their other needs, their health care needs, their drug and rehabilitation need, their employment training, and all of that. Because of the success throughout the state, in Los Angeles County, in Los Angeles, and on that very campus, of all the groups, federal, state, national, CalVet, the VA, addressing the needs of homelessness, and with the opening of the first of what will be many buildings to house homeless vets on the West LA campus, the need is not nearly as acute as it was. The proof that we have of that is, of the 84 beds, only 57 today are now filled. So I have asked the federal VA to consider ending the transition program there so that I can have those beds back. Because where will those homeless go? Other federal buildings on that campus. And believe me, if any veteran shows up anywhere in our system today, we will find a bed for them by sundown tonight. And then we always have the 100 beds still empty at Barstow.
Got it. So what's the capacity in all of our veterans' homes? Are they at capacity or not? Because you're talking about...
Almost, well, let's see. Redding's at capacity, Ventura, Chula Vista, Lancaster, West LA at capacity soon will be, except for these 2 wards that have the VA overflow patients in. Fresno is at capacity. So I think there might be, I'll get you the exact number, 120 beds at Barstow that I can't fill. And
now, is that because people don't want to locate there, or there's just not a lot of folks in that community?
There's several factors. People don't want to go there. The veterans don't want to move there. And also, if they did, I would have to find staff to take care of them. And it's not an outpatient clinic 8 to 5. It's just 3 shifts every day, weekends, holidays. And we have a hard time recruiting out there.
Okay. It's interesting, just because I know I have veterans that come into my office and they're looking for bed space, and hearing that we have some,
We have some. And if I could... I think any discussion with a homeless veteran should include our facility in Barstow. It's a beautiful home. The geography is stunningly beautiful. It's just far from what they're accustomed to.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mathis?
Secretary Ambrosini, one of the largest problems we have dealing with veterans is the long wait times. And recently, our VA Secretary, Robert McDonald, compared the VA wait times to Disneyland wait times. And with everything going on, I just kind of would like to hear your thoughts on that and how that is going to affect our veterans here in the state and things you're looking at.
So let me understand you. You want me to criticize the person who may ultimately fund all my future projects?
When you're comparing our veterans who have...
No, I understand.
This is absolutely ridiculous, and it has a trickle-down effect, and I know you've got to head it up. I'd just love to know what you're looking at to face that.
Well, thank God I don't have the federal challenges. I mean, it's hard enough. We have waiting lists in our own system. I have waiting lists for memory care in Ventura and Chula Vista. I have waiting lists for skilled nursing care at every veteran's home. I don't have waiting lists for domiciliary and intermediate care or residential care. But compared to the federal, I'm not in a position to criticize them, but if you look at states like Montana and Wyoming and Utah, which are vast geographically, and other states like Maine and Vermont and New Hampshire, which are not large, but they're extraordinarily rural, how do you locate facilities? Anywhere near where a veteran can be within 40 miles of care. The Veterans Choice Act was an attempt to solve that problem. And the VA is now calling it a failure. I don't understand why. I personally, if I took that job, I probably would advocate that the only way to solve it is to enhance the Choice Act and maybe this is something you consider asking your own congressional delegation. You need to pay physicians in the community at least 15% above Medicare to make them willing to. You have to cover their overhead so that they'd be willing to see these extra patients, the veterans that are geographically challenged. But let me put our own homes. Our patients in our home in Reading, this is our state home, and our home in Yountville, there's no VA clinic nearby for specialty care. We have to put our vets, including some of whom have just had surgery, perhaps on their neck spine or their lumbar spine, on buses with not the best shock absorbers that have to go from Reading through Yountville to either Palo Alto, Martinez, Mather, or San Francisco, even if it's just for a 20-minute blood pressure check. It's an extraordinary. One of the things I'd like to look into with these community partnerships is to continue a conversation with the federal VA to at least establish a community clinic on the campus at Yountville or up in the Reading area so that our vets won't have to take these Herculean trips.
Assemblymember Sajian.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of questions just to follow up on what you just said. What would it take to have our veterans use the local hospitals? In our county, they have to travel at least 50 miles to where they're taken care of rather than to go to a very local hospital.
Yeah, so you're asking me questions about the federal system.
Something has to be taken care of at the federal level. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely right. We closed the home in Yountville. We closed the hospital in Yountville about 8 years ago. Up to that point, it was a fully functioning hospital, but it's been closed. So all 8 of our homes now are now just skilled nursing and assisted living and some domiciliary care. But if our residents need an IV or need something that a hospital can only deliver, we have to put them in an ambulance and send our residents to a local hospital. I'm not running hospitals, only long-term care facilities.
My other question, see if I remember correctly, I was going to ask you what kind of attention we are paying to the concerns or issues of concern to women veterans.
Well, we're lucky that our department has a position that is mandated by law, a deputy secretary for outreach to women veterans. She's in the audience here, Deputy Lindsay Sin. She does an extraordinary job. I think, I was always told in medical school, you don't have to be a female to become a gynecologist, right? So, however, having said that, I think that Lindsay, as a woman veteran herself, is able to bring and speak with a persona and a voice that only a woman can bring to other veterans, many of whom struggle with the ability even to identify themselves as a veteran. And to that similar extent, we have just hired Ricardo Reyes to be the Undersecretary of our other underrepresented veterans. His portfolio includes outreach to the LGBT community, Latino, African American, Native Americans, and the incarcerated veterans.
Vice Chair Chavez.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the presentation, Mr. Secretary. And I'm just going to congratulate you. I think you really, I want to highlight them. I think you really have some good ideas here. One is the Yountville home, your new modernization, and bring it up to the future. When you start going through that, please keep us involved, bring us in to see where it's going to go. When I was looking at the numbers, it's going to take a big lift. I don't know if it's going to take a statewide bond, but I think with the right message out there and support from all the assembly members and senators, it could be something that we'd all be proud of. So as you continue to do that, keep us informed.
I absolutely will. I certainly will need allies in this effort. Keep in mind, though, that any construction, whether of cemeteries or of our veterans' home, like the most recent 5 that the legislature asked us to build, and which thankfully now they're all open and functioning, through the federal VA construction grant program, they typically pick up about 65% of the cost. So if you do the math, the West LA building cost about $250 million. So you can subtract out the federal portion of that. That's what will be left on our plate. But you also might want to be tempted to subtract from the remaining balance that we have to come up with the tens of millions of dollars of deferred maintenance that's still sitting on my desk for Yountville. And even were I to spend every single one of those dollars today and brought you out there tomorrow, you'd see all the repairs, but they'd still be in 100-year-old buildings.
Right, and I always thought your infrastructure there was really antiquated. Your energy, your water, the whole thing needs to be redesigned. And your statewide medical network, I think that's, that we've been talking about that for years. That's great. And the CalTAP working with the DOD, that's great to reduce the numbers. Just for some clarity, though, when you said we don't have any memory care facilities capabilities?
We do at 2 medical centers. Don't ask me to name them right now.
Yountville in L.A.
Yeah, there you go. But there's certainly, you see it in the newspapers every day. The demographic of the entire national population is aging. Well, the veteran population is no different. So the amount of memory care that's going to be required nationally is going to become an everyday topic of conversation at legislatures across the country. So we're certainly starting to feel pressure. The legislators themselves, the local ones in the San Diego Imperial County, are particularly vocal.
And so that's why for the members here, when you're looking at his beds, you have residency, you have skilled nursing facilities, but you also have like memory care. And depending on what type of care you're given, it's a different overhead that he has to spend to take care of it. So it's not.
Oh, absolutely.
When you see numbers bed, it's not just we can move any homeless person in.
So for your edification, memory care is skilled nursing care. It just puts, it superimposes on that highest level of residential care an environment, a protective environment. They need to have an enclosure where they can't wander away. There has to be special monitoring. But the nursing care is the same.
And what are the ratings of the homes now? Because that was an issue. So how are the homes rated?
Good point. So we lost a 5-star rating a number of years ago. The electronic medical record is probably the prime culprit at all of the homes except at Yountville. At Yountville, it's the physical plant. I got to tell you, we will never, ever be able to get 5 stars back from Medicare at Yountville. They just have to walk inside the building. And
so you got one. Everybody's at 4-star.
No, we're at 2 stars, but we have every home since I've gotten here has passed every single inspection. Medicare inspection, CDPH, you name it. We've passed every one with flying colors, so we're expecting all the star ratings to go up. Why is this important? This is not a report card from 7th grade you take home and you get an extra lollipop and your mother sticks it on the refrigerator. This translates into enhanced revenue, and I hope you'll be proud that revenue generation in the homes is a high priority of mine. I've got the CFO of the homes making a master spreadsheet of every resident to find out what benefits they're entitled to and may not be taking avail of. For example, if they're 65 and haven't signed up for federal insurance, we help them do that. So revenue generation to make sure that if they've got a VA disability that they're rated, because all of this translates into remarkably higher federal per diems to us.
And what now, because I know last year a couple of years ago, we passed an initiative across the state to take money from the Farm and Home Loan Program for homeless homes. So I was wondering, what is the rating now of the Farm and Home Loan Program?
It's still the best in the nation.
And what is that?
I think a double A according to one system, which is high as you go. But don't ask me whether it's Moody's or I got a briefing from bond lawyers, but I got to tell you, an hour with them and you'll never need a Valium. So a couple of facts about that program. 95 years in existence, 423,000 loans. 27 times gone to the voters of California, 27 times passed by huge majorities, the most recent 68%. The lowest foreclosure rate in the nation, including Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, better than any bank in California except for 4 quarters of its existence. It's an extraordinary program. And these loans go to veterans that many of whom would not be able to get a loan any other way. So,
and the best insurance program in case anything happens to their house.
Yeah, we just lost a few in the big fires last year up north. Those veterans are going to get a completely rebuilt home for a deductible of $250.
And the last thing is that, as you know, because you were there last week, your first meeting, but Senator Irwin Chair and I have been sitting on the Governor's Military Council for going on our second year, not the third year for me. The Governor's Military Council, I think, is a really, really good advocate for everything we're trying to do for veterans. And we've never had that before. And so we can, and I think, and I also pay Mr. Conity a little chops in the sense that we've never seen the veterans groups, American Legion, VFW, GI Forum, Disabled American Veterans, they're so well organized now. So we have this grassroots effort, we have the governor's effort, then we have you doing your thing. We're at the point now where we have all this synergy to do whatever we need to take care of veterans. So just ask you to work with us on this. I know later on in the year, Assemblymember Irwin and I will be holding an event on homeless veterans out in Los Angeles area. But we see ourselves as partners to make sure that we do everything we can to help you do your job. Not to tell you what to do, but to support you where you need to be supported. So just want to highlight that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Those capabilities better than I've ever seen.
All right, do we have any further questions or comments? All right, we'll open it up for public comment then. No public comment? Oh, Mr. Conity?
This is the part where everybody gets nervous. But you shouldn't. Pete Conity representing about 20 veterans groups, and we are so happy with what the current secretary is trying to do, and we fully support everything he's trying to do, and he can count on all the veterans service organizations to support his efforts moving forward. You will have a bill before you, SB 980, which updates the Military and Veterans Code as far as it comes to veterans' homes. We're taking a couple amendments in the Senate. But there's things in the Military and Veterans Code going back to 1935 that are still on the books when we had one home. So this is pretty much 90% a clean up and update bill. So I just wanted to mention that to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And with that, I will close this special session. Thank you very much again for giving us an update.
No, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you all.